No matter who you are or where you live, at some point in your life, you must have thought how awesome it would be to fly. Well, while we still can't help you with the actual experience, we can show you how it looks from up there as we lead you through a list of 20 unbelievable drone discoveries all around the world. A giant pink rabbit found in Italy. We know that many kids enjoy being tucked in and sleeping with their favorite toy. But the first drone discovery that we bring you will show a stuffed toy so big that we may wonder what the hell sort of child left it there. Well, this giant rabbit can be found in the Piedmont region in Italy, and as we will find out, it's a creation of multiple playful personas. This giant pink bunny was created by a group of artists, and it was given the name Hace. When it was put up, it was planned to represent a part of the art show, but through time, it became somewhat forgotten. Now just picture it. You're walking around and enjoying nature, and as you go to film it with a drone, you stumble upon a 200-foot or 60-meter-long pink rabbit. First contact with an Amazon tribe. This tribe was discovered in the Amazon, and it was dubbed the Earth's last uncontacted tribe. As we could expect, since they weren't used to people, especially not those that can fly above their heads, their reaction was quite strong. Just imagine how horrifying a drone or even a helicopter may have looked to these people who only had birds as reference points for comparison. Naturally, scared and put in an unexplainable situation, they resorted to protecting the tribe and even attacked by throwing spears. What we did get the chance to realize from these brief aerial encounters is that they definitely have some wild body paint rituals and can be quite dangerous when they feel attacked. Let's hope no one stumbles upon them directly, and even if they do, good luck explaining to them that you are not an alien. A guy wake skates at the top of a building in Dubai. As we can see, this guy used a drone to pull himself across the water's surface. Now, if you are unfamiliar with wake skating and how this is different from wakeboarding, well, put simply, there is nothing holding this guy's feet stuck to the board. It makes the whole deal a lot more fun, but also a lot more dangerous. Anyway, after wake skating alongside this giant pool, we can notice the gorgeous view behind him right before he jumps off of this building. You can easily see that it's even tough to describe what the man has done. But once you see it, it is clear that no words are needed. After performing this amazing jump, the man deploys his parachute and lands safely on the beach below. Explosions under a frozen river in China. Alongside the border that separates China and Russia, there's a river that naturally freezes during the winter. Those who are tasked with keeping everyone safe and the water running have to occasionally break this ice apart to prevent excessive accumulation. And after this video, you will see that they have found a hell of a way to do it as well. Namely, after drilling through the surface, the workers place explosive loads below the icy shell. This way, each of these packages will send crushed ice and water soaring toward the sky. When a bunch of explosives are planted below the frozen surface of the river, and once everyone is safely tucked away, this mesmerizing event takes place. We can certainly compare it to some of the prettiest fountains one could find around the world. A car adventure alongside the Brazilian coast. The next video brings us on another adventure, and this time it includes strong vehicles and a lake so large that some of the first images that you have seen may have made you believe people are driving across the sea. However, this vast amount of water is a part of the thrilling trip that one could have alongside the Brazilian coast. These groups of people are well prepared, and when one doesn't have to worry about the setup, all that's left is to enjoy the roaring of the cars and the majestic view that spreads almost infinitely in all directions. A football field suspended in the sky. Imagine that some of your friends call you to have a friendly game of football, and once you accept, They take you to this place. People in China have built a giant football field and decided to suspend it in the middle of the sky. It is located about 200 meters, or approximately 650 feet, above the ground. Besides being high up, it certainly must be shaky, which probably makes it a nightmare for anyone afraid of heights. Then again, what a thrill it must be to try kicking the ball while hanging between two giant cliffs and right above the water. A reindeer cyclone. Just imagine being the lucky human not just to see this mind-blowing spectacle in person, but also to discover how it may seem from the sky using a drone. A reindeer cyclone is a beautiful dance that sometimes occurs in nature. It includes a huge group of reindeer and, as the name suggests, they walk in circles, creating what appears to be a cyclone. Looking at this unbelievable scene from above, we could be wondering what causes such behavior. Well, we still haven't figured that out 100%, but it could be either a defense mechanism, one that these animals deploy to protect the most vulnerable, which are placed in the center. Or it could be a happy mistake that leads to this almost unbelievable occurrence. Simply put, it could be that each animal is just following the one in front of it and, in such a way, creating a never-ending movement that becomes a reindeer cyclone. A giant game of Tetris in Germany. Over time, various gaming consoles have mesmerized the playful folks of Earth. We started with smaller screens and moved to larger ones, but in the next video, we bring you one that might be our biggest screen yet. For some, a blast from the past would be remembering the good old game of Tetris. For the older generations, these moving pixels could have been the first joy of gaming that they have experienced. But no matter how you discovered the game of Tetris, we can all agree that playing it over an entire building in Germany adds an appealing twist to it. To be fair, there are other arcade games you could play over this building, but regardless of which game you choose, imagine how cool it is sitting in front of such a large screen substitute with a joystick in your hands and enjoying the nostalgic gameplay. A troublesome bog in North Long Lake moved by boats. Bogs accumulate over time and can form from all types of materials, including various plants, moss, and anything else that can get stuck in between. If you're used to using boats to get around and one of these bogs forms, your everyday life may become quite a drag. This is why, after over half a year since a huge bug formed in a lake in Minnesota, people decided to try to cut it into smaller pieces and then, by tying these pieces to their boats, pull them apart. They have worked on this for quite some time, but the first attempts ended up in failure, since it was impossible to use just a few boats to move this giant mass that's comparable to the size of more than 3 football fields. Later attempts in which the bog was separated and cut into 3 pieces were more successful. These 3 chunks were still huge, but still small enough to be moved around. A neighborhood built on a bridge. There are various ways in which people have tried to attract tourists and make lively attractions for people to enjoy. In one of these attempts, a whole village in China was made atop a bridge. To make it even more interesting, the style of the village includes traditional Chinese buildings for one half of it, but then the next half is entirely inclusive of Western-like features. What a surreal experience this would be for someone who isn't aware of what's going on. The mysterious Utah monolith. The first discovery of this mysterious and unexplainable monolith happened in the year 2020. Considering how contrasting this metal color is to its surroundings, it isn't much of a surprise that people immediately realize something intriguing is up. Its interesting shape immediately caught the attention of those who stumbled upon it. The size of this monolith is 12 feet, or approximately 3.5 meters. Once drones caught footage of it, and it spread throughout the internet, a lot of public attention was directed toward it. We haven't been able to decipher what this could mean or where it came from, and you can see why, This inspired curiosity. Naturally, there were plenty of theories that explained the Utah monolith being placed there by extraterrestrials, and some others believed it could be a very complex prank that someone placed there to do what it did, puzzle the whole world. A kangaroo attacks a drone in Australia. If you think it is an easy task to capture discoveries like the ones you have seen today, let us show you how things can go when a drone is filming a field full of kangaroos in Australia. As it drifts through the air and probably noisily alarms all of the animals that have gathered here, we see that one of the kangaroos has decided to take matters into his own hands, and we mean it quite literally. The kangaroo hops across the field, and after it gets close enough to the flying drone, it is lights out for us. An unreachable Iceland lighthouse. The next discovery that we bring you could actually only be seen using a camera that's flying. Naturally, this is where drones come in to offer convenient help. Lighthouses usually symbolize finding your own path towards wherever it is you're going. However, if you're going to this particular lighthouse, you will need some serious assistance and an actual helicopter to take you there. Thridrangaviti Lighthouse was built in 1930, and as you see, it must have taken a lot of effort to place it in such an inconvenient place. Despite its age, it is still operational today. The main building and a heliport are built approximately 37 meters or 120 feet above sea level. There isn't much on this cliff, but it still helped numerous sea travelers find their way. An abandoned sugar mill in Puerto Rico. Next, we bring you to Puerto Rico, where this amazing drone footage of an abandoned sugar mill was made. If you are wondering why someone would make such a huge settlement just to process sugar, just remember how essential this product is and how widely it is used. Namely, sugar was such an important export that it was the cornerstone of Puerto Rico's economy. Since this was the case, a lot of the ground around this abandoned mill was used for sugarcane fields, all in an effort to produce as much sugar as possible. However, since times have changed, about 100 years ago, this export became less crucial for Puerto Rico, which is why it was slowly abandoned, and we are left with this ruined but amazing-looking facility. End of the world cinema in Egypt. If your drone was hovering over the Egyptian desert, you could stumble upon this site. Counting the numerous chairs and rounding them up to 700, you would start to think your mind is playing tricks on you. However, this isn't the case. From the title, you can already realize that something menacing is about to be presented to you. We bring you the end of the world cinema hidden in the middle of a desert. The chairs that we can find in the desert represent what's left of the movie theater, which was built in the 1990s. The bad luck that befell this theater makes it seem as if there was a curse upon it to go along with the scary name that it later earned. During its first projection, there was a power outage. We could say that the chairs that represent a reminder of an amazing and hopeful idea of an open theater in the middle of the desert were never truly used as they were meant to be. Abandoned Air Force Base in Arizona. While talking about abandoned things, we move on to somewhat bigger objects than theater chairs. Imagine a huge field that's essentially a cemetery for countless planes. Well, either imagine it or take a look at this drone discovery. The size of this field is even tougher to imagine, since Davis Mountain Air Force Base spans over 2,600 acres, or approximately 1,000 hectares of land. To put things simply, when an airplane has served its purpose or become obsolete due to its technology being outdated or its purpose lost, this is where we park it. While this may sound somewhat nostalgic and sad, remember that during World War II, this was a maintenance facility for military aircraft, so overall, we might want to be careful. There may be space to be thankful that some of these planes aren't used today. Instead, this abandoned Air Force base in Arizona is where they're preserved and, through time, disposed of. A clash of a moose and a wolf in Ontario. This wild adventure takes another interesting turn with the next case. This drone has managed to capture a situation where a moose happened to be in the middle of the water, and a wolf that preyed upon it thought this would be a perfect opportunity to bring it down. The wolf chased the moose around, thinking it would be a better swimmer than its dinner. But as it will learn, mooses aren't as helpless when dipped in water. Instead, it manages to push the wolf away and escape this dangerous predator. A derailed train in Montana. A derailed train may be a perfect setup for a horror scenario. This drone discovery brings us the footage of what a wreck that happened in Montana looks like. We see from the flipped-over wagons that this is where the most damage has happened, since not only are these wagons tossed all over, but they appear to have damaged the surroundings. Most of them have even been sunk in the water, and the way that they are arranged tells us that after derailing, this must have caused quite a commotion, considering that the piled-up wagons were sturdy enough to battle the force of inertia that this train must have had going at full speed. A Greek village in Turkey. While we are moving all around the world with the discoveries that we have shown you, after hearing that there's a Greek village in Turkey, you may be wondering what the hell is going on. Let us now tell you the story of this abandoned village that's famous for its unusual and interesting building style. While there were moments in history when this village thrived, it is now part of an area whose population count is less than 1,000 people. This village is Kayakoi, or Livisi, as Greeks would call it. It was built sometime during the 18th century. The misfortune that placed this Greek village in modern Turkey comes from the troublesome years that followed World War I. Since everyone wanted to make the borders of their territory as stable as possible, a Greco-Turkish war occurred, and it is what made this village abandoned. Still, it offers quite a nice view and an opportunity to explore how things may have looked back then. The Disney ghost town in Turkey. This amazing discovery is called Burj Al Babas. Instead of a ghost town filled with Disney-like castles, it was envisioned to be a luxurious living place. When we say luxurious, we really mean it. To put things in perspective, if you would like to live in a castle that seems like something out of a tale, you would need to spend between $3,000,000 and $5,000,000. The root and the concept of this place, which truly could have been mesmerizing, started back in 2014, when over $200 million was spent to make this vision a reality. While it did put the castles up, nothing else seems to have worked out. So now there's a Disney ghost town in the middle of Turkey. If you have a drone, we hope we have inspired you to get out there and make some amazing discoveries wherever you are. If you, on the other hand, aren't a drone enthusiast, we hope you have enjoyed all the wondrous discoveries that people have made. After all, by enjoying these videos that people have made by drones, we are contributing to and supporting their efforts to amaze, frighten, puzzle, or mesmerize us with various unbelievable and wonderful drone discoveries around the world. These were all the cases that we have brought for you today. We hope you have enjoyed them. Thank you for watching.